So Melanie Duncan is the founder of the Entrepreneur Nest, that is the hardest word for me to say, Academy, an online training site that teaches thousands of women across the world how to start and grow online businesses. She started her first business in college, and after struggling with trying to figure out how to get customers using the old way of marketing, she immersed herself in learning everything about online marketing, from SEO and pay-per-click to social media. Now get this, within a year, she went from having a business in debt to having a successful national brand. So Melanie now owns several successful online businesses that produce over $2 million in annual revenue. Her businesses have been featured in New York Magazine and on top television shows like ABC's Good Morning America and NBC's The Nate Berkus Show. She's an international award-winning speaker and a leading expert on how to use social media's hottest new platform, Pinterest, for business. She lives in her favorite city in the world, New York City, and effectively manages her Southern California-based businesses remotely. I recently had the opportunity to chat with Melanie at a Rootside networking event in New York City at Blog World this last week. So we got to chatting. I'm really excited to hear everything she has to say about Pinterest. So welcome, Melanie, to the webinar.
Thank you so much, Amy. You know, I am just beyond thrilled to be here today, and I'm sure everyone listening is already very familiar with you and familiar with just how lovely and what a wonderful person you are. But I have to say, you know, when I had the pleasure of meeting Amy, just for all of you listening out there, she is even sweeter and more wonderful in person than you could possibly imagine. I've been a fan of Amy's for a long time and always really enjoyed all of her teaching, but meeting her in person just blew me away. She's incredible. So I am just honored to be here and honored that you are hosting me today and letting me have the opportunity to serve and train some of the people on this call today. So without further ado, you know, we're all business people here. I know how important everyone's time is and how valuable it is. So I promise from the get-go, I'm really going to try and deliver the most amount of value and impact to you in this next hour as possible. So like Amy said, I hope you're hydrated, maybe just a little bit caffeinated, because we're going to get rolling on this and we're going to crank through a lot of information. But I promise you, I worked very hard to make sure that even though we're going to be covering a lot of information, I don't want you walking away overwhelmed by this teaching. I'm going to give it to you in a lot of just practical step-by-step guidance. So I really hope this serves you. So today we are, of course, covering the hot topic of Pinterest and why you can't afford to ignore the power of pinning. But I've got a little disclaimer for you before we start out. I'm not here to teach you about Pinterest because it's a super hot and sexy and trendy topic. I am actually here, and I'm so passionate about helping others learn to use Pinterest because it personally transformed my business. I mean, we're talking from true struggle to overnight success. So I'm going to show you my secrets for using Pinterest to get tons of traffic and sales. First and foremost, I am just a small business owner like many of you out there listening. So I know firsthand what a nightmare it can be to get your business the exposure and the customers that you deserve. So hopefully we're going to alleviate some of those pain points by showing you just how you can start using Pinterest very quickly in a very non-overwhelming manner. So I want to go over real quickly what we're going to be covering and what you can expect to learn in today's webinar. I'm going to be showing you specific strategies to get you the biggest amount of impact in the shortest amount of time. And this is kind of one of my pet peeves about the current Pinterest training and articles on the market right now, is a lot of people are doing broad theory, but you know, I want to really hone it down and focus on what are 5 strategies that we can walk away with today that are going to start getting you a huge amount of impact very quickly. And I'm also going to be addressing the biggest myths and misunderstandings, because now that you're here on this webinar today, you're going to walk away as an expert. You're really going to be able to be in the top 1% of your industry and understanding how to use Pinterest to market your businesses. So of course, to get you to that level, we have to address what everyone else doesn't understand properly so that you can be, like I said, that 1% that really gets it. And we're going to be talking about what most people are doing wrong when it comes to using Pinterest for their business so that you can actually do it right. And how you can successfully integrate your Facebook and your Pinterest marketing. And this is something a little special I threw in for Amy because I know that she's already got you guys just rocking it on Facebook. So I want to show you how you can leverage all of that success and influence you've already built on Facebook and show you how you can start using that along with your Pinterest marketing. So you really get to integrate those two seamlessly. And I also have a surprise bonus at the end of this call, just as a special thank you, like early and miss out on it. So I don't think I need to go too far into this. Amy did an amazing job. I was so flattered. Her introduction was incredible. But just for those of you that are still rolling in, I see a few people just starting to attend the webinar. So I'm Melanie Duncan. I'm the founder of Entrepreneurs Academy, and I teach people all across the world how to start and grow successful online businesses. And I'm going to share with you specifically today a particular personal story about how Pinterest turned me from a skeptic into a believer. And I always think that's fun to share because I know for a fact there's probably a lot of you on this call that you're a little skeptical about Pinterest, and I totally get it, and I was too. So I'm going to be sharing with you a personal story about what helped me change my mind and what in particular Pinterest did, or what I did with Pinterest to turn my business from struggling to successful. So just for those few of you who maybe aren't entirely familiar, just some broad strokes, what Pinterest is, how does it work? Pinterest is a virtual pin board that helps you organize and share interesting things that you find on the web. It's basically a virtual version of that, great cork board, that bulletin board that many of us have above our desks. Pinterest is just a virtual version of that, and because of it, people can pin images from other sites onto Pinterest. And then because it's a social network, other people can repin those same images onto their boards. So it's a way to categorize, but also to share with your followers, with your friends, the stuff that you're finding helpful and inspiring and useful. So you may be wondering, well, why Pinterest and why right now? Well, first of all, something to understand about Pinterest that differentiates it is it's extremely viral. And in fact, over 80% of pins are actually repins. Now that could be compared to Twitter, where actually less than 5% of tweets are retweets. But what's exciting about this is it means that on Pinterest, your exposure can basically go on autopilot. This is really a social media platform where you can kind of sit back. There's not as much to do the intentional pushing. There's a lot of circulation that's done for you on Pinterest. And due to its simple visual nature, people are clicking through the sites more. And this is something that I personally really enjoy about Pinterest. There's a lot of other social media platforms where, we've got ads, we've got chat boxes, a lot of things that are kind of, putting our attention in a lot of different areas. But because Pinterest right now is so streamlined, it's actually doing an incredible job of referring traffic, which is very exciting because driving traffic is an incredibly important part of an online business and getting that exposure. And it's very exciting right now to be learning about Pinterest because it is so new. You have an opportunity, unlike many other areas, to get there first and to really become a leader in your industry. Now, as the experts are saying, there's some very impressive things about Pinterest. In fact, it reached 10 million unique visitors faster than any other independent website in history. And it's actually driving more referral traffic to websites right now than YouTube, Google+, and LinkedIn combined. And we're talking super fast. I mean, Pinterest is young. It's still in its infancy. And in fact, it's now driving more referral traffic than Twitter. Isn't that cool? Not a lot of people know that. So you're kind of getting the inside scoop here. And it's actually driving more revenue per click than Facebook or Twitter. It's kind of got more of a social commerce feel. And there's a funny story that I've heard about Facebook and about Pinterest that I think is kind of a funny comparison to share with this audience. But they talk about like Facebook is like the awesome neighborhood bar where like you go out, you engage with your friends, you hang out, where Pinterest is kind of more like a cool craft fair. There's a lot of products on Pinterest, and there's a lot of, it really lends itself to discovering new products and services because it has more of that craft product service-based sharing. So it's doing a lot of exciting things in terms of social networks that are really worth paying attention to. And like I mentioned previously, stuff that's really exciting to pay attention to, how you can be working the advantages of Facebook and Pinterest together. Because of course, Facebook has a lot of advantages. It's still the largest social network. It still does a lot of amazing things. So if you can start leveraging the pros of Pinterest along with the pros of Facebook, oh my gosh, you are set. And there are over 10 million Facebook connected users, which go ahead and let me know if you've got a little chat box on your screen. write yes or no if you've ever seen any Pinterest posts on Facebook. Maybe you've seen people who've linked it up to their account, so you see it, posting on your news feed, or you've seen maybe on people's actual profile pages where it showed what's been they've pinned from Pinterest. Pinterest and Facebook are already integrating at a very exciting level, and Pinterest is getting a lot of great exposure on Facebook, which is already laying the groundwork for you to be integrating your Facebook and your Pinterest marketing. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of yeses. So again, go ahead and write in the chat box right now, yes or no if you've ever seen Pinterest posts on Facebook. Okay, so most of you are saying yes. I'm seeing a few no's, but it looks like, this is perfect proof right here. Most of you have already seen and have been introduced to Pinterest just via Facebook. So I may be going out on a bit of a limb here, but I'm willing to bet that many of you here today are not getting the exposure that your business deserves. In fact, how many of you would like a solution for getting more customers? Because I know personally that we've got some very brilliant people on this webinar today that have incredible ideas, they have really fantastic products, and they have incredibly valuable services that really could change people's lives. Really exciting stuff here. But they're struggling to get the recognition and the customers and the amount of customers that they deserve. And believe me, I'm not saying this because it's something a little bird told me. I personally understand this because, as business owners, many of us are facing very similar challenges. And we need a solution to help us market our businesses so that we can get our products and our services in front of more buyers. But little secret, actually, a lot of us don't love marketing. We'd rather spend our time focusing and developing our products and services, am I right? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, first and foremost, are creators. So we really excel at creating, but the whole marketing thing can be really frustrating and challenging. And as much as we hear about the merits of social media, a lot of us honestly are really overwhelmed by all the different platforms, all of the constant updates and changes, and a lot of the conflicting strategy. I know personally as a business owner, a lot of times I just get really overwhelmed by social media. And in fact, many of us are really frustrated with hearing about all this success that other people are having with social media, but we're never really getting any real results ourselves. Is this striking, sounding familiar to anyone? Is this hitting home? I hope so. And finally, here we go. Just like I said, all of the overwhelm, all of the updates, all the new stuff. Finally, great, Pinterest shows up. We're just finally getting the hang of Facebook. We're doing a few tweets here and there. Maybe we've got a video to up on YouTube. And then Pinterest shows up and you're like, really? Another social media platform that I have to learn and put my time and my energy into. I know as a business owner, I wasn't particularly thrilled about another thing to pay attention and have to learn to in the beginning. And maybe some of you have already dipped your toe into Pinterest and you've tried it out, but you haven't really seen, you don't really get what all the fuss is about. Or maybe many of you haven't even tried it out yet because you feel like you just don't really get it. Does anyone feel like they just don't really get Pinterest yet? Well, that's what I'm here today to do. I'm here to change that. If you feel like you just don't really get Pinterest, or even if maybe you've tried using Pinterest but you haven't seen any results from it, we're here to change that today. So I hope you're excited. So I've got a bit of a personal story to share with everyone here. About how Pinterest actually turned me from a skeptic. Like I said, I wasn't thrilled when Pinterest first popped up on the scene, but turned me from a skeptic into a believer. About a year ago, I started my second online business, which happened to be a line of contemporary monogram home decor and gifts. And since it was my second business, I was feeling pretty good about myself. I thought, I got this. I thought marketing and online would be a cinch. But unfortunately, it was not. And how many people out there can relate to that? You think, oh my gosh, this product, it's just going to sell itself. Or my service, it's so good, it's not going to be a problem. And then we have that uncomfortable realization that actually maybe things aren't going quite as we had hoped. So that's kind of how it happened for me. Everything that worked to market my first business wasn't working to market my new business. And as you can imagine, I was quite frustrated by this. But, one day an opportunity presented itself. We were actually contacted by the Nate Berkus Show to participate in an audience giveaway in exchange for being featured on the show. So I'm not sure if many of you know how this works, but sometimes to be featured on these big shows, you just have to give away a certain amount of credit or